Hello, welcome to my first video diary. My name's Stephen Paine. I'm a councillor in Fantward in Maidstone, and I'm also the councillor on Maidstone Borough Council who is in charge of planning, transport and development, a very big job. I've created this video as a way of communicating with residents and with the public more. I think in this day and age, politicians need to find new ways of communicating. They need to use the latest social media, and they need to connect with people more than the leaflets that they put in people's doors. I want people to know about the sort of things that councillors do, what I do as an elected representative, and the sort of things that we deal with. And for Maidstone as well, we're going through a big decision-making process with planning and the local plan, and we're looking at things such as new transport links, new housing, very big contentious issues, and I want to be able to communicate with people, be able to answer questions over this medium, and really just to let people know what's going on. Sometimes people don't have the time to sit down and read my blog or read newsletters or read council bits in the newspaper. Maybe something like this is a different way of communicating and a better way of communicating. If it works, I hope to keep on producing these videos. I hope maybe every Wednesday I can put one together. We'll see how it goes. Of course, if they're a complete failure and end up on the front page of the Daily Mail or something terrible like that, I will scrap them with immediate effect. In my day job, I work with the prison service. Now, I'm very lucky to have a supportive employer who, despite the fact I work full-time, they allow me to have Wednesday afternoons off to come into the council and do council work. And actually that's the main time that I get a lot of my meetings and important things like that done, because that's when the staff are available. It's during the daytime. I thought it'd be helpful just to run through some of the general things that we talk about in my Wednesday afternoons. We cram a lot in. Today I met with Rob Jarman, who's the head of the planning department here, and also met with Alison Broom, who's the chief executive, and we talked about progress with the local plan. We talked about how the housing numbers are emerging for Maidstone. We looked at ways that we can communicate with the public, and we can get councillors on board too, because it's very important to do that. These are such big issues. Also talked about sort of some fairly mundane stuff, which is actually very important though. Things like we were looking at the performance of the planning department, we were looking at the staffing levels, how many bits of casework the team have. We were looking at the number of houses and applications that are currently in the system, and it may surprise you, maybe not, that there are actually almost 2,500 dwellings coming through the planning system at the moment. So we need staff in place with all the tools that they require to get those decisions made and to make sure that the right decisions are made for residents as well. We also had an update on enforcement, which is doing very well, performing above and beyond target, and we talked about vacancies as well and how we'll be hopefully recruiting new officers to help manage this big workload that I referred to. We also, in other things I've done today, we looked at employment, and we talked about some of the proposals at Junction 8 that have come forward, and some of the big local employers. We talked about KIMS, which is the Kent Institute of Medicine and Surgery, a wonderful private hospital complex opening up on Junction 7. We talked about how that's looking to expand, creating up to maybe 4,000 jobs for local residents, high-paying jobs as well. Average salaries of £36,000. It's a real benefit for Maidstone. On a smaller side of things, we looked over some of the improvements that have been happening to the Chequers bus station. You'll notice if you go there that the line's been repainted. It's just the start. We've got up to £50,000 being pumped into it to try and brighten it up, refreshen it, make it a nicer environment for people waiting for their buses. And we're looking at things like live information boards as well, so people know where their buses are, they can catch them on time. On my ward council duty, I was going through various emails I've had today. A lot of my emails actually relate to my cabinet post. So I've had residents living on Upper Fant Road who've been contacting me with their fear about the housing numbers for Maidstone. They're worried that the council officers have got the numbers wrong for the population projections. We've looked into that. Actually, we're quite confident we've got it right. It is a high figure, and it obviously is very upsetting, but particularly for communities that are facing new housing. But we've double-checked those figures. They are correct. I'm confident in them. The only other bit of casework that's come up in the last few days is I've had a couple of complaints about double yellow lines that have been put in on Bower Lane. The residents in particular felt that they hadn't been properly consulted on those lines before they went in, and so I've looked into that, and actually the request came through a councillor from the ambulance service, they had somebody had a heart attack. They needed to get to the house and they couldn't get there because roads were blocking the road. Cars were blocking the road. So what they did was put in a request through a councillor for double yellow lines to be put in. Even still, I've asked it to be referred to Kent County Council so they can look into it and make sure that it's all been done properly and above board and that residents were consulted. It's important to do that. Apart from that, really, I think that's not bad for one afternoon's work. Yeah, until the next time. Okay, thank you.